I think everyone can find some kind of benefit from journaling, but especially people who are in their own mind a lot, like me. And by the way, I'm having kind of a bad hair day, so I put a lot of product in my hair just now, and I'm not sure it made it better. The reason that I think journaling is very important for us introspective types is because it's a release. It's a way of getting the words that are in your brain out into the world, and there's something about writing down what you're thinking that relieves you. And I always think of it in terms of like bloodletting, especially if you have darker feelings and thoughts. Writing them down isn't necessarily going to solve things, but I think it does relieve the anxiety and the weight of what you're thinking. I don't necessarily journal every day. I try to write at least a few sentences. Just write down the things that are going on that I kind of don't want to talk about. So it's, writing down things like what I ate for dinner, it doesn't really matter. But writing down the things that I fear, the things that I hope for, the failures that I've had, and insecurities that I'm dealing with, that is important to write down. And that's when I try to journal, so that I can free those thoughts to get them out of my head. And at the very least, I've started to acknowledge that there's something going on, whether good or bad. Acknowledging a fear or acknowledging a hope and a goal. Those are both things that gain a lot more power when you get them out of your head and into the world. Alright, so I have a theory. Bear with me for a second. This drawing isn't turning out too bad. And this isn't a theory like I made up. This is just me. Oh man. Alright, so this is when you have words in your mind and ideas. This is just like the power of words theory. This is the power of words theory, okay? This guy, he's got the words in his head. This is the weakest of words, okay? When they're just in your head. Now, it's not that they're totally ineffective. I mean, every idea starts up here. Don't discount that, but you're keeping your words at their weakest point if they stay up here in this theory that I'm making up kind of on the fly. You're smart people. You probably see where this is going. So here's the second part here. Speaking words. And that is stronger. When you put words out there by passing air over your vibrating vocal cords and articulating sounds with your mouth in such a way that you are creating language, that is stronger than just having it up here. Okay. I'm obviously not a visual artist, so this last one is going to be a doozy, okay? Alright, how do you... Alright, this is awful. That's supposed to be a hand. It looks more like a, I don't even know what it looks like. But that's a hand holding a pen and a page and words are there. That's stronger than that. I'm not sure between those two if one is necessarily stronger than the other. I'm not sure. But the strongest is when you write and speak. So these two together are the strongest. But of course there are some things that you can't speak aloud. That's where journaling comes in best. So these are strong when you have like a business plan or something creative you want to do. You have the idea like, oh, I want to, let's just say, write a story. Write down ideas about the story, you talk it out with people, or just talk to yourself. Honestly, even if you're just speaking to yourself in a room or speaking to a camera like I am, that brings a lot of power to your ideas, to the words in your head, and they start to snowball. But there are some things that you just can't speak, I think. They're just too intimate, they're too dark, or they are hopes that you have that are too embryonic that you feel like you don't want to put them out in the world just yet because they're not ready. There is safety in journaling because It's not spoken, but you're still getting it out there. So, journaling. What I recommend is these kind of Moleskine journals. These are the Volant series. It's actually, I think, pronounced like Moleskine, but then you sound even more pretentious. It's pretentious enough just to use Moleskine journals. You don't want to also pronounce it correctly. I used to get the real, the highest level of them with the hardcover that were thicker, but I stopped getting those and prefer these smaller ones because these just feel, I don't know, less important. When a journal is too nice, you feel like you don't want to write trivial stuff. But I do recommend this. This isn't like, obviously it's not a paid endorsement. What kind of, that's the worst marketing strategy I've ever heard of, getting a YouTuber with 80 subscribers to push your product. But anyway, I use Moleskine just because it feels high quality and I like it. And the biggest reason why I like the Volant series of notebooks, all the pages are perforated, so that means after you've written them, after you've let the book sit around for a while, you can rip out the most embarrassing pages and your darkest thoughts and burn them. This is something that I have done many times. I have written down stuff in a journal and then later ripped out the pages and shredded them or burned them because I write really dark stuff and really embarrassing stuff that I would never want anyone else to ever read, stuff that if someone found, they might be shocked or worried about me. I think this is the best function of a journal, is to write down those things that you feel are unspeakable, that you feel almost ashamed to have in your mind, or even the good things that you feel embarrassed about sharing, that you don't think is ready to go out there, like the hopes that you have for yourself. Or I write all the time about like the girls that I've had crushes on, and I don't particularly want people to know that. But I also write really dark stuff about like cutting to the bone fears and self-doubts and bad emotions and things like that. And I think it's very good to write those things that feel unspeakable. Like I said, it's like a bloodletting. It's getting it out of your system. When you let an idea just fester and you're like, I can't write this down. It's too much. It's too bad, or it makes me too vulnerable. By writing it down, it kind of makes you realize that this isn't as big of a deal. This is just an idea. This is just a feeling. Even though in my theory, I said that words in your mind are the weakest, they can also seem like the strongest when they're just in your mind, because they echo. Your mind is like an echo chamber, and you start to meditate on these bad thoughts, and you need a release. You need to write something down to be able to see it in pen and paper, to see the words written out, and to be like, this is something that I can work through, or this is something that I can achieve. That's where the strength, I think, comes from in the written word, is to really focus yourself, focus your thoughts. I highly recommend writing stuff down when you feel like it. Push yourself to try to write a few sentences every day or every other day. And then get a notebook where you feel like you'd be okay with burning the pages afterward, because you need to free yourself, liberate yourself to write anything that comes into your mind, even if you think it's bad, it's shameful, it's unthinkable. You need to be able to get everything out, because it's just not good to stay up here and to let it fester. Okay, well, that's what I wanted to share. I hope you got something out of it. Let me know in the comments if you journal. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more makeup tutorials.